Thursday love.
I can't with you. I can't.
Hey everybody, I want to be the first to say Sherry being mean to me. I'm telling the truth. I'm shaming the devil.
I am not being mean to him.
What are you doing? Tell the people what you're doing.
Huh?
Tell the people what you're doing.
You are criticizing stuff that I've already set up, and then you want to wait till 9 o'clock to tell me to get it right.
I'm not criticizing you.
What are you doing?
I'm encouraging you to not be mean to me.
Whatever. Hey, everybody. This is
our first live spat on TV.
On TV?
Whatever you want to call
live
it.
Stream?
It's going to be on TV one day.
It's going to be on TV. Speak it, baby. It's going to be on TV one day. Who's up here? Say hey. Say how you doing.
We got to go to the comments.
I am in comments. They haven't commented yet.
Well, it's 3 people other than Jonathan and
Yvette. Hey, Trivia.
And Vete.
Lord, don't start.
I'm going to talk junk now since she can't say anything. She muted.
Lord, all right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Thursday Love. We are back in full effect. This is our second week.
Mama Diane. Hello.
This is our second week. And so last week we had a great discussion. What did we talk about last week, TJ?
We talked about the goodness of the Lord.
Did not. Did not.
Look, I had my observation today. Y'all got to pray for me. What we talking about last week?
We had Otis and them up here talking about being single and dating and feeling safe.
Yeah, dating and feeling safe. Yeah.
Which was a great discussion. So we're gonna continue this week. TJ is not with me today. Y'all pray for him. Hey, Mama Diane.
I'm just tired.
I'm
just tired.
Well, I think we all just tired.
I'm going to bed after this too.
We all probably are going to bed after this. So on this week we're continuing our discussion. We're in the singles vein. I like it because I like talking and getting their input and see how they feel. Because at one point we all were single. I know.
Yourself.
Anyway,
I always had me a date. I was dating Jesus. Stop doing it on live stream.
I'm trying to help you out.
They can't see it.
Lord.
I hate it. It's like your mom used to lick your finger and get you. I hate that mess.
I'm not licking my finger.
I'm just saying.
Anyway, all right. So you enjoyed last week's discussion? Great trivia. It was a great discussion. So on this week we continue. We have 2 amazing people who are coming to talk about single parenting in a pandemic. As we know, single parenting can be hard. By itself, parenting alone is hard, but being a single parent, we don't, if you are not a single parent, you do not know the ins and outs and all that they have to go through, right.
And there's some of y'all who are married who feel like you're single parents.
True. But, but we don't know what it, we don't know what it all entails. All I know is I'm a product of a 2-parent home, and it went from a 2-parent home to a 1-parent home. My parents got divorced when I was 14. And so my mom was a single parent for those last few years of my life. I barely saw her. She worked 2 jobs and she went to school. So I was pretty much taking care of myself those last few years. I know it was hard for her. Hey, Crenshaw. But times are even different now. We're in the midst of COVID-19. I'm so sick of hearing about it, but that's what our reality is. It seems like it's here to stay, and it's here to stay for a while. And we're in the midst of a pandemic. And it's affecting a lot of people. A lot of people have died from it. A lot of families have been affected by it. And whether you're in a single parent home or a 2-parent home or whatever, everybody's been hit by it. But on tonight, we're going to hear from some amazing single parents who are doing what they do best, and that is to raise their kids and be the great people that they are. And so we're going to bring them in, none other.
You know what?
Hey, Rick.
I've been sitting the whole time trying to figure out why you're taller than me. I know you got more butt than me, but you're sitting in the thing.
I'm sitting on a pillow.
That's why.
Oh.
I'm like, I'm a little midget.
Good Lord, let me bring in Jonathan. Lord
hey,
Jesus.
Rick, I'm just curious. That ain't no Jonathan Hodges.
Yes, it is.
That's who is that?
Stop. Don't start that tonight.
And Cavetta?
No, don't even do that.
Bias.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
I'm already sleepy. sleepy.
Kivete Bias.
Jonathan,
As you can tell, I'm sleepy too.
excuse him, but he know Kivette is very particular about her name, and so he's messing with her on purpose.
I'm joking because she got that half hood, half holy shit, so she got to be holy now.
I saw that earlier.
Live.
Yeah.
No, I'm the first part right now.
Nah, peace be still.
I have some steel too.
Oh Jesus.
So we want to welcome Jonathan and Kivette to Thursday Love, and we want to just take a minute. Y'all introduce yourselves. Kivette, you go first, then Jonathan. Just tell us a little bit about yourself. Let the people know who you are.
Okay, I'm Kivette Bias. Kivette Bias, not Covette. Kivette. I am a mother of two. I have two girls, and I am so proud to be 45 years old. I have a 12-year-old and a 9-year-old. And I put on my good wig tonight for y'all.
I got mine on too. As you can see, I didn't put it in the middle. It's on the sides. Jonathan, I'm on my way, man.
I was about to say, give me some of yours.
Mercy.
That's it.
That's it. All right, go on, Jonathan.
Okay, my name is Jonathan Hodges. I'm 35 years old from Smithfield, North Carolina, and I am the single adoptive father of 5 beautiful children.
Yes,
there's 5 of them. I usually get like a big gasp after that. But they're adopted. My oldest daughter Zara, she's 17, and I have a 10-year-old son Marcus, a 9-year-old son Jason, and I have a 5-year-old son Trevor, and a 4-year-old daughter Taylor Renee, who runs the entire clan. She yells all the time, so I had to lock the door so she wouldn't come in here because she will.
Baby girl runs it.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Man, I thought you were about to say you the senior pastor, but you said a single father of 5.
I'm nobody's pastor.
When you start pastor?
Never. I'm not even a minister.
You ain't nobody's pastor?
No,
man, you got 5 members in your church, man.
Now we'll use them as the traveling praise team. That's it. No church.
Traveling praise team.
Y'all can have it. Yeah.
Jonathan and the Travelettes. I mean,
That's right.
On the board, you got boys though. So the Travelers. There we go.
Yeah, the Travelers.
Jonathan and the Travelers.
Yeah. So Jonathan, I want to start with your story first because that was the key. That's one of the main reasons why I wanted to ask. I didn't want to wait till next year because I think I can't remember exactly which month, but I know one month they really highlight the adoption and foster kids because they're really trying to have more people to adopt and foster.
Yes.
But can you just tell us a little bit why, as a single father, because you don't see that often, a man adopting 5 kids. Can you just share us your story, how you became Jonathan to now Daddy Jonathan?
It all happened by accident. None of this was planned. My oldest daughter was my goddaughter at first, and her mom had some issues in life that she was running up against, and so she was actually born the year I graduated from high school. And so I started my journey with being a godfather, and it was one of those issues where, or one of those things where she went to the store and was supposed to come back and see her for about 2 weeks. And so that pattern kept continuing. And then my parents, of course, loved my goddaughter at that time. And they just had her around all the time. It was nice to have a new little baby around because I was raised by older parents. My father was 50 when I was born. So it had been a long time. And I'm the youngest of 10. So it had been a long time since we had a new baby around the house. So it was kind of refreshing. Say what?
You got 5 more to go.
It's a done deal. It's a done deal. Ain't no way in the world. So I had a full ride scholarship to Winston-Salem State University after graduating from high school on a music scholarship given by Pastor Shirley Caesar. And it was an amazing journey. I was so ready to go, but then I couldn't go because I had this baby in my care. And I was mad. The baby was colicky and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, I'm getting this baby back. I don't care. Somebody gonna have to come get this baby. I'm done. I'm too young for this. And my father said, no, you're not. You need to learn how to think things all the way through. You're going to finish what you started. A godfather does what a parent can't or won't do. So you're going to take care of this baby. If you got to go to junior college, get a part-time job, we'll help you out, whatever. And they did just that, really. And so I was daddy. So North Carolina stopped recognizing guardianship So where I had guardianship, I wasn't able to get any kind of like help or assistance or put her in school because of the fact that they no longer recognize guardianship. So we did what we call an open adoption, where the parents don't give up their parental rights, but I become the primary parent. I make all educational, health, and medical decisions for them, and legal decisions as well. So it just happened like that, and it just kind of snowballed. There was one child after the next, and my philosophy behind it was, why continue to overpopulate the earth when there are kids who are already here or coming who is going to need our love, encouragement, money, because they need a lot of money. They always ask for money.
Money.
Yeah,
well,
so that's what
the
we are.
wives ask for money too, man.
Yeah.
A lot of money.
I think that's a woman thing because
I
my
think
mom does the same
I'm
thing.
not going to agree with you on that one. So Sherry's sitting back behind
I'm
me,
not
but I
even
might.
gonna have this conversation with you.
Yeah, I'm not tonight. But that's all peace deal.
Yeah.
But she'll smile here live, and then she'll get me.
Oh yeah,
When we
you
get
gonna
out.
get it.
So yeah, I'll let you have that one.
Nice knowing
Hey,
you.
Vet. So Jonathan, you said
Yes.
snowball one after the other. Like, what does it says? Okay, I'm no longer just gonna be just like Jonathan living my life. Jonathan's gonna mature and take on this responsibility. Like, when did that click for you?
Well, I've always never lived my life. I started singing. I'm a worship leader here in Raleigh, and so from the time of
Go
3,
ahead, get a shout out. Give a shout out.
Transformation Christian Church, Pastor James Barnwell. I was singing at the age of 3, and then by the time I was 9, I was directing all the choirs at my church. So I had people under my tutelage who were old enough to be my grandparents, and but it worked out. So I kind of look at it as my childhood being robbed, if you will. But that was pretty much what it was. So I've never really lived for myself, and like I said, I had older parents. So my father, who passed away 10 years ago, he had dementia. No, he had dementia first, and then he ended up having Alzheimer's disease. And so my mom and I, we kind of alternated Sundays to stay home with him to make sure he was good. And then now my mother has dementia. She's 71 years old and she has dementia. She also lives with me. And I have a handicapped brother who also lives with me. So I've never really kind of lived my life. I've always but I've always taken care of my family. So it was no different. Like I said, I'm the youngest of 10 kids. So it was like, the house is always full. It's always vibrating. My house has always been the house of a revolving door. So every one of my relatives have stayed with us. So it's when the kids aren't here, the silence is so loud. So yeah, so to answer your question, I've always been in the position where I've been a caretaker, so it didn't feel any different for me. So it wasn't really a transition or a moment where I said, this is what I'm going to do. It was just kind of natural to happen.
Oh wow. Okay, so
I'm sleeping from that. Good job. That's tough, man.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot.
It is a lot.
That is.
But God empowers me. He gives me the strength to do it. How I do it most days, I don't know. It's very challenging, but it's also rewarding to go to work and give that good energy at work, and then to come home and see 1 million pieces of loose leaf paper with magic marker all over it saying, "I love you, Daddy."
Oh.
It makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah, you make sure they clean that stuff up.
I know they do.
Show that they love you.
I know. They make me sleep on it.
All right, so now we're here. We're here. COVID-19 has come, and we are here. So, Kivette, how has your life changed from pre-pandemic to now in the midst of a pandemic?
Well, first, medically, I was never supposed to have children. And I was pretty much cool with that, actually. So to have kids at such a later age in life, my first child was born when I was 31. Yeah, when I was 31. I got married at 31. She was born when I was 32. And then to turn around and have another child 3 years later. And I was married and still a single parent. I was hipping one and carrying the other. But I wasn't supposed to have children. My first child was actually a miscarriage. And then it was Kennedy. And then there was another pregnancy, which was another miscarriage. And then Kenya came into the picture. So being a single parent, especially in the pandemic, was one that I lost some hair because I did a lot more yelling and fussing than I have normally done because my kids were so close to me. And in the process of that, we were homeless. So we were really like in close quarters doing when the pandemic hit. And their father passed in January of 2020. So I'm trying to deal with that. And then the pandemic hit, and then school shut down. And I was still working and still trying to figure out where they were going to go while I had to work and so forth. And so we had somewhere to stay, but most of the time we stayed in hotels. So we was always close quarters, and I was like, "Who these kids gonna make me lose everything?" I mean, yeah, I'm gonna need some bail money after a while. That's what I was thinking. But we got through it as if we gotten through everything else. But when they got to be virtual and I was working remotely, I became the principal, the assistant principal, the teacher, the teacher's aide, the cafeteria lady, the research coach, and I was helping with schoolwork. But your teacher is there, and I'm still trying to work, but they still asking me questions. It was a lot, and yeah, I took a lot of, huh?
You forgot the janitor. The
No,
custodial staff.
I made them clean up their own mess because
So
after a while,
you were the
once my
managerial.
wig came off, that was it. once the wig come off,
I'm gonna try to pull yours off, but I don't think it's coming.
that was it. So I found a lot of comfort in the pandemic. I know it's weird for some people, but I have a high tolerance for pain. So I actually went and got a tattoo like every month. So I got 8 tattoos in the midst of the pandemic because I loved it. It was therapeutic for me. And then I had to learn how to take breaks. And people always say, depend on your village. But they were not
pandemic don't come.
They were not around. I still had to handle it on my own. The village had an excuse, but my kids saw me waking up in the middle of the night and dragging them out of the house to go be there for somebody else, or paying someone else's bills, or doing this for someone else. This is stuff that they saw me do, but when we needed it, no one was really there. So now I take moments for myself, even if it's just in my room. Now that we have a home of our own, to God be the glory, I can shut the door and lock it and maybe just drink a glass of wine just so I can relax for a moment. But it goes back to mommy mode. Mommy mode never shuts off for me. It never has, and I don't think it ever will. So I'm here. I'm still living. I'm still making it. And I love it. Actually, I wouldn't change it for the world.
So, how's the pandemic over in Jonathan's house? How has it affected you in raising the kids since the pandemic?
Well, when we first started with the pandemic and the lockdown, I found myself saying, "Bro, you just ate." Like there was nothing to do. They had nothing to do, and they wanted to stay in this refrigerator all the time. I'm like, you literally just ate. No, you're not eating anything else. Like y'all killing me right now, because I'm the breadwinner of my family, and I take care of it all. So that was a strain. That was the biggest part. And then going into virtual learning was a little different. I ended up buying like an iMac and some other stuff to make sure that it was good. And the school gave some supplies. But yeah, it was real different. Ironically enough, I have one of my sons has ADHD, and he did so much better with a one-on-one with just me and him, or him and his teacher, versus trying to compete with the energy in the room of like 16, 17, 18 other kids. So they really excelled. For my oldest daughter, it was her first year of high school, so it was really difficult for her. She was already kind of struggling anyway, and then to have to do it virtually, it just kind of threw things off for her. But the babies, they still jumped on everybody's head and did what they were going to do. So it was real challenging, but it really brought us closer. It brought our prayer lives up to where we would pray more because we couldn't go to church, so we had to be the church So instead of joining somebody's church, we had to join ourselves. And in that moment, we really found God in a different way, in a more intense way, a more intimate way that we probably would not have had we still been confined to the four walls of the church. So I'm grateful. Everything in life happens the way it's supposed to. So I'm grateful that, we found beauty in that distraction.
Okay, so there have been some parents I've heard complain about how they realized in this pandemic when everything shut down that you had to be in close quarters. Kivette said earlier that they were always together, and some people they do better when they're not together, and they realize that through this pandemic that all of us under the same roof every day is driving us crazy. Did you ever have those moments where you felt like this pandemic is either bringing us closer or is tearing us apart?
Me, it brought my kids and I closer. We were always close because it's always just been the three of us. So, of course, my brand was always one mom, two bosses, because they really bossed me around to a certain extent because I am very strict. I am very strict and I play no games with my kids. But they were still dancing, they still had dance. So they still had their outlet where they could still do things. So of course, during the pandemic, TikTok took over. So my kids were on TikTok a lot. So I was like, what?
We saw.
I'm gonna get me one. So don't hate. You're a hater like my kids because I started posting videos on TikTok and my views were more than theirs. So they became haters. They became haters. So, but it still was fun, trying to get them to teach me how to do some of these dances. And then of course they thinking that I'm old and I don't know anything. So it was good. We was playing Uno all the time, even though I always won. And then I cheated to let Kenya win sometimes. So, it was things like that we were able to do. Of course, we were still getting our nails done. So those were things that we were doing together anyway. But it was like more of an excitement. At first, it was like an obligation because we got to look good. But then it was like excitement that we could get up and go to the nail salon and get our nails done when the salon opened back up. We were the first ones in there. 6 o'clock in the morning, we went and got our nails done. So yeah, it brought us closer. So, but once the virtual came along, it was something different. I told the teachers, if she failed in math, it's because I helped her. So don't give her a bad grade.
All that crap they be doing, all them circles and O's, and because Taylor and them got some. No, forgive me. I know some teachers might watch this stuff, but they got some doggone division where they have to round the numbers. Back in the days we had 2,565, and you're gonna divide it by 3. We just go ahead and divide the crap and call it a day. But they had to round the mess before they divided it. I'm like, what this? Man, them jokers they can't count because this stuff is crazy. Like it's like somebody just sitting home and was like, you know what? I'm bored. I'm gonna create this and give the children it's just crazy. Like it makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah, I agree. But I bought some fake money off of Amazon that looks real. So of course, I taught my kids how to count money because a lot of things were closing. So with them, they were getting allowances, and of course, when their father passed, they were able to get survivor benefits. So I'm teaching them how to budget money. I'm teaching them how to save. I'm teaching them how to spend it wisely, and pay their tithes and do different things. So I bought this money and we would sit at the table and I would write off something and, two different children. So I had to do it differently. So I was like, well, hand me $600, not using $100 bills, so things like that. And they found it so excited. I got tired after a while, but they still found it so exciting. I had the fake change and the dollar bill. It was really nice. So it kind of brought us closer together. Now they won't leave my side.
You know what? I mean, it's just my personal opinion. It doesn't go for everybody. But Jonathan made a statement. Basically, he said, stop bringing, people to the world because there's so many people that need love. My thing is, like, at the end of the day, if you did whatever, you know what I'm saying? Now, not if not if someone took advantage of you, but if you laid down there or he jumped into the lake and he got wet and she, you know what I'm saying? If you've done that, like the kids are your responsibility, one. But if you are better apart, then why are you together? Don't get me wrong. Everybody needs space. You know what I'm saying? You need your moment where you can woosah, like you said, go into the room. I don't drink wine because I'm just scared to do it. But like everybody needs some space. But if you are better apart, why are you together? Like those are your kids. You know what I'm saying? So to me, like with our girls, I was all that too. I was because I was teaching at home while they was doing virtual. So I was the principal, the assistant principal, all the above. But I loved it because I didn't have to worry what was going on in the classroom. I could just go upstairs or run, like I could keep my eyes on them. And Sherry can tell you, I'm a little protective over the girls. I'm real skeptical because they're girls for one, but like I loved them being I loved it. Like honestly, I miss that because we got to be separated. We got to be. But I love them being home like that. So I don't quite understand how parents would be like, I don't want you here. I want you to go. Well, why did you have them? Because they're gonna be there for at least 18 years minimum. So, but that's my spiel. I'm done. Anyway, I'm sorry.
Well, I'll send mine to you because I need a break.
We got room. we got a room downstairs. We got
you gotta make sure they go to cheer. You gotta make sure.
Oh, I'll do that. I'll bring up YouTube. They can do it downstairs in the
you hear this? I'll do it.
That's right, Jonathan. I said
he gonna be like,
I'll
Sherry.
bring up YouTube.
That's why I don't have a village. Compared to just what you just said.
I'll put on dancing dolls.
No, see, we're not there. We're past that stage.
Or some boom cat. What's that chick name? No. Yeah, what's the woman? She
Laurie Gibson.
Yeah,
Laurie Gibson.
Boom cat. They'll be a Juilliard.
Not doing no boom cat. They don't know Juilliard doing no boom cat. I can tell you that right now. Juilliard gonna kick him out.
We're at Mitzi Copeland level. That's what we are.
Right. You got any questions?
No.
Because you keep joking. I'm sorry. Jonathan.
Yes.
For you and your kids, not just so much you and your relationship with the kids, but the kids' relationship to each other. Would you say being home during the pandemic, did it make them closer, or were they arguing all the time?
They argue anyway.
Yeah. Right.
Good
they don't even call each other by their first names. They call each other brother and sister, and that's how me and my siblings do as well. So if I see one of my sisters, like, "Hey sister, can you hand me that?" or "Hey brother, can you whatever?" And that's how it is, and they've adopted that same philosophy, and they just call each other brother and sister. So they have their moments, and it never changed. It's just like, but I did find out that like a couple of them were closer at certain times, and then the other two would be closer, and then they would switch best friends and whatever. So they're just regular black kids.
Y'all got this prepared for church.
Yeah, I was about to say they're regular black church kids.
They do in church, brother and sister.
Brother
Hodges. Sister Bias. Yeah. Sister Sherry. I ain't gonna call you wife no more. I'm gonna call you sister.
No, don't do that. But so so I was reading, they were saying over 2 million mothers, because majority of the stats say single mothers. They don't say single parents, they say single mothers. That that most of them lost jobs and ended up having to stay at home during the pandemic because there was no child care. So, Kivette, you said you stayed home. You said you got to work from home. But Jonathan, were you able to work from home?
No, I drive a garbage truck. We were out there the entire time.
Oh, you
and didn't get a bonus. Let's put that out there.
You didn't get a bonus. Wow.
Did not get a bonus, but we were out there the entire time picking up trash from the hospitals. And inside the hospital they have those biohazard cans. Where they take all that stuff and put it in one can and then put the regular trash in the regular can. But when they take it outside, it all goes in the same dispenser. And then we pick it all up. So, we were out there the entire time. So, no, I wasn't able to work from home.
So they be tricking folks, making them think that they putting something in good use, but it's all going to the same place.
Yep, and even some garbage, and they're going to kill me for this, but even some garbage companies.
Man, hold on, wait, Jonathan. Don't lose. You just keep that one in.
Okay. All right.
You might have somebody from the sanitation. No,
okay. Yeah. I got you.
You got 5 mouths to feed, so we're gonna say that alone.
Yes.
All right.
Please help, Jonathan.
We're not gonna do that. Man to man. You gotta keep that bread coming in. There you go. All right.
Lord have mercy.
You can thank me later. That the Holy Spirit is speaking. I'm listening. That's my only spiritual moment for the night.
Lord have mercy.
All right, half hood, half holy. Keep going.
Half hood, half holy. Okay. So all right. So, but as a person, just not as mom, not as dad, just as Jonathan and as Kivette, was there any times through this pandemic you was like, okay, I can't do this? How do I protect my kids from COVID-19? What, God forbid, if they get COVID-19? I mean, did any kids get COVID-19? Because I know two out of our 3 kids got COVID. One wasn't affected at all. My middle baby, she wasn't affected at all. We all here together. She didn't get it. But my oldest and my baby girl, they got it, but they have mild symptoms. So, as a parent, not even say as a parent, as a person, as a human being, what are the thoughts? What are your thoughts? What are, you're thinking through this? How do I keep my girls? How do I keep all my kids together? How do I protect them or try to protect them from a virus? What do I do if they get sick? Like, what are those type of things that are going through your mind? How are you feeling? Either one can go first. It don't matter.
I was that way before the pandemic. So I'm very protective of who's around my kids. I've been that way since they were born. Of course, old folks say don't let them kiss your baby. So I don't let a lot of people around me. I don't let a lot of people around my kids. So even before the pandemic, that's how I was. My kids don't spend the night at everyone's house. I think they started spending the night at their grandmother's house, their dad's mom, years ago, but that's about it. That's the only place they would spend the night is at their grandmother's house. And then after a while, they started spending the night at my dad's house. But then I'm very limited about who's around them and who's going to be in your house and so forth and so on. So even, with my daughter, she turned 8 during the pandemic in April. I literally, they started the drive-by birthday thing. Yeah. I did a surprise drive-by for her, but I set it up to where I drove her to 13 houses, and people had different signs and stuff wishing her happy birthday. She didn't get out the car, but she was still surprised and happy. I did that. I drove her. No, I don't want you to come nowhere near where we are. We'll drive past your home. Wow. We'll drive past your home. And it was 13 houses all day long. It took me a while.
Well, how come you didn't come down here?
I wasn't coming to North Carolina. I was staying in Richmond.
Stingy.
I was
stingy with your gas. Stingy with your gas.
Hey, it was a pandemic, and don't nobody put gas in my car.
You owe him no explanation. You don't owe him no explanation.
You won't catch nothing but air.
That's right. Hey, them signs, we still have them for her to have those momentums and those memories. So it's things like that I did, but I was very limited on who house we went to. I was very limited if she got out the car, how close they could get to her and everything. It's just how I was, how my grandmother raised us. And yeah, I don't let people in my house. Half the people don't know where I live now. They never will, because I like my space. I like my peace. And recently I was diagnosed with depression and having severe anxiety. So when a lot of people are around me, I start to shut down. And I'm a real quiet person unless I'm provoked. Watch it, TJ.
Don't believe that. Once she get the microphone, she's provoked. She's provoked by the Holy Spirit, and it's a wrap.
That's different. But I'm very shy. I like being in my own little bubble. That way I don't have to say anything to anyone. No one has to say anything to me. So I like to keep my kids as close to me as possible sometimes. But now they're getting into their own. They're getting older where they want to hang out with their friends more. And, I'm still that parent. Okay, I'm gonna take y'all and I'll pick you up. Matter of fact, I'll sit in the parking lot until y'all finish. That's just me. If you going out, then I'll take all the kids myself. Because that's just how I am. I don't want my child getting nobody else's car, anything like that. I'll do all the driving and I'll take everybody home. That way I know my child is safe. And parents trust me because they know I'm not gonna let anything happen to my child. So they know I'm not gonna let anything happen to their child. I don't trust other people that way though.
Jonathan?
Kids have always been nasty. I worked as a preschool teacher for 5 years before I did the garbage truck thing, and kids were nasty before then. Like picking their nose and whatever, kissing and slobbering on each other, sneezing, open mouth sneezes, and that type thing. So it was nothing new for us because we've always kind of washed hands and did that kind of stuff, and just made sure that hygiene was a real big part of the day. So yeah, I mean, it wasn't really that big of a transition for us. It was just, I don't know. I just keeping them in the house was really the biggest thing, not letting them go anywhere. So we tried to be as creative as possible to make sure that they had a number of things to do here at the house. I would go by Dollar General sometimes and just get like a bunch of paper, crayons, pencils, all kinds of stuff, just gadgets. Went to Ollie's and just got a bunch of toys. They thought it was Christmas over again, just so they would have something to do and kind of be in their own space and stay out of each other's way. So, but as far as protection, they just stayed in the house and just washed their hands and make sure they kept their fingers out their eyes. And that was harder for the babies. So 18 months ago they were 3 and 4, or on their way to being 3 and 4. So that was the hardest part. But everybody else is fine. Then of course we had a couple of friends. Fortunately, I have a village that really works for me. So I have a bunch of friends who are entrepreneurs. So a couple of them had like masks that they were making with different cartoon characters on it and that type of thing. So it helped the kids to keep the mask on when if we had to go out or whatever. So just different creative ways like that just kind of kept them safe. And none of my kids had COVID, thank the Lord. I did have it before they knew what it was. It was the last part of 2019.
Right.
And
they was like, you had pneumonia.
No, they said it was upper respiratory something. It was like, it's just a virus is going around. Everybody's getting it or whatever. Just go home and rest or whatever. Mm-hmm. I ended up going to have to lead worship in Dallas, Texas. Got on the plane. I know I killed 175 people because I was coughing and all kind. I didn't know what it was. I drank an entire bottle of the 8-hour Mucinex. You're supposed to take one cap full, and it lasts 8 hours. I did the entire thing in 8 hours.
Oh, wow.
Slept through the whole thing. They woke me up, and it was like, it's time for you to go on stage. I went up there. I don't even remember what I sang. I don't remember the experience of none of that. Bishop T.D. Jakes preached that night. Don't remember him. Don't remember anything. I just remember taking that medicine so I could stop coughing. It was horrible, horrible. Got back to North Carolina, and then that's when they said that it was finally in New York or whatever, but it had already been here by that time. So luckily, surprisingly, with an elderly mother with dementia, a handicapped brother who has hydrocephalus, and 5 young children, a couple of them have asthma, nobody else got it. So thank God for that.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
See, my crazy, but I came and I prayed over Sherry and all the kids, and it left them, and I got all of it.
No way.
Yes, way.
The one who
that
prayed.
That coughing you talking about?
Ooh. My cough.
That's what made me go to the. That's what made me go to the hospital because I was, and I hate emergency. I hate the like I detest. If I could blow it up, I would. I hate the emergency room, but I was coughing so bad that I was like, "Yo, either woman, you gonna drive me there, or
he was like, I gotta get to the emergency room, and I couldn't move fast enough because I had just got off work, and he's like, I need you to take me to the emergency room, and I said, okay, I said, let me get this up. He's like, either you take me or I'm taking myself. Like it won't even like seconds that passed by.
It was real.
Like, he was ready to go.
I knew something was wrong because like Kivette, I'm the most aggravating energizer bunny possible, man. I wake I wake up in the morning and I'm wide open because I can't go back to sleep. So I didn't have, man, I couldn't walk from I'll just use an example. I couldn't walk from the toilet to the tub without being out of breath. So, and I'm like I said, I'm in it. And I knew, I was like, something is wrong. I came out of Walmart, man, and you know, he talked about how it messes with your mind. So I came out of Walmart and sat in the car, and I had to sit in the seat for like 20 minutes because I couldn't do anything. And so I saw myself taking the key. Literally, I closed my eyes, and when my eyes closed, it showed me putting the key in the ignition, cranking the truck up, and driving off. And when I opened my mouth up, and when I opened my eyes, I was still sitting in the seat. And so it was like, I'm not afraid of death. I'm not, honestly. I mean, because we all got to die at some point in time. But I was scared then because it was so many things happening at one time. And like, I mean, I'm talking about Sherry can tell you, I was asleep and I was dreaming there was a hole in my back and that water was coming out. And what was happening was I was sweating so bad. And so I woke up and Sherry was like, "Did you spill some water on the bed?" I was like, "Nah." She was like, the whole side was wet. And then so by that happening, it caused me to be dehydrated. So it was crazy, man. If I didn't like you, I still wouldn't wish that on you.
I know.
Not at all.
Yep.
It was crazy.
Yep. Absolutely.
That wasn't even, I'm just telling a small portion, but it was crazy.
All right, there's some parents out there that, like I said, they just felt like this pandemic just brought the worst out of everything, and it was just real hard for them. Some of them lost jobs. Some of them put a strain on their marriage, and they became single. Bless you, baby.
Too late now. I done did my own blessing. What you saying now?
Y'all see what I got to do?
You're right, Deja. They are terrible.
You see what I got to do it.
You see what I got to do? My own wife won't say bless me.
You know, some of them, like I said, some of them lost their jobs. Some of them were financially strained and so forth. But, you know, what would you tell a parent? You know what I'm saying? What would you tell a parent? You know, how would you encourage them that, you know, I still have to love my kids? Because some of them don't love their kids after this. You know, I mean, like literally some of them sitting there like, they question why they became parents.
I can tell you why they became parents.
You can tell why. But what would you say to encourage them to keep them motivated, or give them some advice or some things that they could do to help that relationship with their kids, you know, through this whole situation with the pandemic and everything?
Oh, for me, I have that open door policy. I have questions sometimes. Am I doing this right? Especially for young kids I'm learning to still how to parent young children who's lost a parent. So that part is still hard for me. I'm still learning because it's still fresh. It's almost 2 years now. But the one thing that I have done is I've taken a lot of moments for myself just to breathe. And of course, now, because I have it tattooed on my arm, the symbol for anxiety, that means breathe. And of course, a music note, because I love to sing. So I take a moment and breathe and sing. It helps me not to always hit my children, even though my theme song is Nuck If You Buck. And sometimes I have to remember my kids are not my age. So when they get to that moment, when they get to that place where they think that we're on the same level, I have to check them. So some parents, I know a lot of people, to be honest with me, for me, a lot of people say that you are definitely one of the ones that I will look up to. But I had a friend, she's gone on to glory. She was a single mother of 6 kids. And I've never seen her kids look bummy. I've never seen them go without. I've seen her work 2 and 3 jobs. She kept them in church. And of course, she was my hero. So every time I have that moment, I think of her, because she never had to go to the court. None of her kids had children at early ages. They all graduated from high school. So I think on people like that. Even I have a cousin. She had a child at an early age, but her daughter both of her kids graduated college. They're successful in their careers. So I find people like that. And of course, she was a single mother. That helped me. They know, you know how they say it's okay. Married people should hang around married people. So I'm a single mother. So I like to communicate with single parents too. You know, like not just that mothers, fathers as well. So
Right.
we
That's why you don't talk to
communicate.
us?
No, I don't. But I talk to Sherry, not you. I will add you in at the end of it. So tell TJ, even TJ, I love y'all, even TJ.
With TJ,
So
yes, she says it every
I
time.
never leave you out, but I'd rather talk to Sherry, even though she's not a single parent, but I'd rather talk to her. I never leave you out. And that's the truth.
I take my space. You ain't got to leave. I'll take my spot. I don't need your permission.
I talk to a lot of other single mothers who have older kids who've gone through some of the things that I have gone through. And I try to prevent a lot of the things that I went through so my kids won't go through it. You know, I went through it so they wouldn't have to. I was born addicted to drugs. I refuse to let that be my lifestyle. Even though their father was that way, I refuse to let it be so. I refuse to let them be around it. I know all about drugs because I was born and raised into it. I don't want my kids to know that, but I have that open door policy. If they have questions, ask me. You know, my daughter said something today about something in school, and it was a survey, and she was like, talking about, do you take tobacco? I was like, well, do you smoke? And she was like, Mommy, no. I said, well, I started smoking in the 6th grade. So smoking cigarettes. So I don't want you to think that it's such a bad thing and you can't talk to me about it. So I'm going to question you. So, you know, is this going on? Is that going on? Because I didn't have anybody to do that for me. I had to look to other people. I didn't have guidance. My grandmother raised me and she was older. So I looked to other people for that guidance, especially when I became a parent and I had to do it by myself. I found people who walked this path before me where I could walk in their footprints. And it helped me a lot. It helped me a lot where I was born in a cursing atmosphere. That's not the atmosphere that I have in my children. I was born where there was a lot of men around coming and going after my parents' divorce. That's not the environment that my kids are around. After their father, it was really nobody else. I haven't been married again. And yeah, I kept my last name because I worked hard for it. I worked hard for it. But all in the same sense, I gleaned from those who paved the path before me as a single parent.
Jonathan?
When it comes to, I did go to school to be a life coach. It's not honorary. It's a real thing because a lot of people got all these honorary degrees around.
You need to clarify that quickly.
Yeah, I paid for mine.
You didn't go to CVS, man, to pick one of them
I
off
sure
the shelf?
did not. I didn't go to no lifecoachingme.com, none of that stuff. I got to move because this StreamYard is tearing my battery up. So if y'all hear some kids and some noise, y'all excuse it. But so as a life coach, I call myself a power coach because I want to help people to discover the power that they already have inside their bodies and minds and spirits and soul, the power that God gave us. And with that, I help them kind of navigate through life. And what I've had to do for a lot of my clients lately is to tell them the philosophy of feel, deal, and heal. So you got to feel what you feel, because a lot of times whenever parents have that, whatever they have toward their children is because of unresolved issues that they have within themselves and the relationships that they have with their parents. It's mommy issues, daddy issues, that type of thing. So you got to feel what you feel. It's okay to feel what you feel. It's okay not to be okay. You all heard that during the pandemic. And then next you have to deal. You got to deal with all this stuff. Get to the root of it. Don't just, you not talking about a situation doesn't mean that you're healed from it. You're not getting through it. You're not getting past it just because you don't talk about it. You have to have those hard conversations with people who offended you. You have to have those hard conversations with yourself. You have to forgive yourself and forgive those people who offended you. Whether it was your mom not being there, your dad not being there, you just have to understand. I went through the same thing with my father because he was 50 years old when I was born. So he never taught me about football, basketball, baseball, none of that. never told me about life. The era that he grew up in, he worked by the sweat of his brow. He came home. We all sat at the table, no beepers, no pagers, no cell phones, no nothing. And that's it. There was no how was your day, no conversation, any of that kind of stuff. And my father's idea of us spending family time together was we are all sitting in the same living room watching the same television. Nobody said anything to anybody. No commentary. Oh, did you see that part of the movie? None of that happened. It was just all we're just here together. No conversation. So a lot of that can be, daddy issues and mama issues. So you have to really deal with the source, whether you have to go seek financial counsel, physical counseling, or reach out to your friend or a loved one, just somebody you can talk to and have that conversation with to kind of navigate you through that. And then once you deal with all that and deal with that unforgiveness and whatever malice or whatever else is in your heart, then you can kind of move forward and you can start the healing process. Might not take, as short of a time as we'd like for it to take, but at the end of the day, as long as you're working, that's all that matters. We just have to be a work in progress. So a lot of this time during the pandemic, it was hard for a lot of people because we weren't able to go to the movies. We weren't able to go to out to eat and whatever, and just fill our lives with a bunch of noise. But we had to sit home and deal with ourselves. We had to sit with our thoughts. And that was a really big thing for a lot of us because a lot of us mask that pain with other people and love in all the wrong places and, all kinds of stuff just so we won't have to deal with it because it hurts. It hurts to have to face molestation from your childhood. It hurts to have to face that you were born with drugs in your system. It hurts to have to face that everybody else got a daddy but you. Everybody else's mom is at the award ceremony but yours. And so we fill our lives with all of these endorsements from Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, the likes and the comments and stuff. And that feeds us, that drugs us and makes us feel like we're loved and we're wanted. But we're not living. We're just existing. We're not living a fulfilled life. So that would be my thing to any parent. Just find out why you do what you do. Just find out why you feel the way you feel. Why am I angry? Why am I depressed? Why do I feel this way? And once you have that hard conversation, it'll make the process a little easier. And also your home life.
Yeah.
That's good. My therapist said that too, Jonathan. So I like that you said that. My therapist said that. Yes, I go to a therapist.
Oh, it's nothing wrong with it. I mean, no,
we all need a therapist.
We all need a therapist. I mean, you need somebody that you really an unbiased person that you can literally just release it all to. You know what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong. Jesus is everything. Yes, you need to vent to him. Yeah. You need to, consult him because he is the one and true counselor. Yes. So, seek him spiritually and then let him guide you. But, also it's nothing wrong with going and actually sitting down and having couch conversations with a therapist and talking that things out because they will help you get to the root of some things that you didn't think about, help you see some things you didn't see, and one of the things, because I went and saw a therapist, especially during the time that I lost our daughter. Yeah. He dealt with it his way and I had to deal with it my way. And I eventually went to a therapist. But the thing is, I agree with what you said, Jonathan. I agree with you, Kivette. Every parent is different. What gets me is that, people are quick to say, you can't tell me how to raise my kids. And that's true. I think that's true to a certain degree. Everybody has their own way of raising their kids, but it's nothing wrong with hearing someone else's story of how certain things help them to overcome certain things. I think we're all here to help each other, bounce off each other, feed from each other. You know what I'm saying? Because there may be someone out there who may be struggling with some insecurities, some mama daddy issues, some molestation, rape, whatever, domestic violence, whatever issues they had in their past. And now that they had to confront it during the pandemic, they're taking it out on their kids. Because that's what I said. There are a lot of, that's what I've heard. All I've heard is a lot of negativity from especially a lot of single parents. Like they don't know how to deal with their kids. They're angry about their job situation. They're angry because they're home with their kids. They're angry. My kid ain't getting enough social interaction. They not learning. And, and it's like, it's because you don't want to take that time and be with them. It's a lot of stuff that causes them to face and confront their issues. And a lot of people just don't want to. But to hear somebody else say, I go to a therapist, or to hear somebody else say, I find this soothing for me or relaxing for me, singing, having an outlet, that helps. And, and other people can glean from that. So it's just, I think that's a good thing. And I think just to add, this is just my little advice, just with parenting, period. Don't be so focused on giving your children what you didn't have, but also take the weaknesses of what you didn't have and make it become a strength of what you do have. Because a lot of times we're so busy trying to give them so much better and greater, we forget that some of those hard things made us who we are. You know what I'm saying? And the thing about this 21st century, everything is convenient. Everything is fast and everything is convenient. And we have to, like you said, like Yvette said, teaching our children about money, teaching them how to work for things. You know what I'm saying? Even though your pop sat there and y'all watched the movie and nothing was said, that's a powerful moment. Even though you still talk to them, but also teach them the power in the silence of it. You know what I'm saying? To actually just sit there, because that's what my granddaddy would do. We all sit there, won't nobody say nothing. But the power in that is amazing, because now that I look back on it, I understand it now. You know what I'm saying? I understand that area, that era, that generation of whatever. You have anything you want to say?
Yeah, I mean there is power. There's power in that moment, and then on the flip side of that, so that moment can be good and bad.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of everything.
It can be good and bad because, for instance, if you're not around anybody to show you that sometimes in those moments you're supposed to talk to one another, because it'll cause you to close. Like for instance, I had a major issue with being affectionate. Because in my household, the way it was as long as you had food, you had clothes, you were alive, you won't beat up, you were good. So that's how I naturally, like, I literally could, and still now I can, if I decide to, I can create. I got you. I can go into a room and be in that room all night long. I mean, especially if the bed is in there, man, I can go in there and shower. I can do all that. Watch TV, bring my food in there. And everybody else will be on the island. I could be on the island by myself, honestly. So I had to learn that there's another side to being a man. A man is not being the provider, but you got to show some doggone affection. You got to become in touch with your emotions, because if I had never done that, I mean, first of all, I wouldn't have had the girls because I would have been divorced. That's number one. Amen. But then number two, we wind up having thus far, we wind up having nothing but girls. So, and all they want is, I feel you, Kavette, all they want is your attention, your time. They don't care if you sleep. They don't care if you talking. They don't care nothing. Them jokers, you could be in a conversation and they come, guess what happened? They ain't said, excuse me, kick the road, nothing. Basically, whatever you're doing, since I'm here, stop it. And I get the attention. So if I had never tapped into that side, man, I would have been miserable. But so yeah,
I guess to see the balance.
Yeah,
to balance it out.
Yeah,
I think that's what I was trying to say. Is to balance it out.
It's both good and bad. But I was just blessed to be able to see the power in that silence, but also see the weakness in it, but learn the strength of it all.
Yeah,
by listening to this Tom and Jerry wearing orange hair looking beauty queen.
Okay.
I liked what you said, Sherry, because I had to learn that. Like,
you ain't gotta like what I said, Kavette.
Well, you let that girl talk.
He know I'm sleepy. You know I'm sleepy. This is my bedtime.
I gotta get it while she down.
But see, I didn't grow up with my parents, so I grew up with my grandmother. Of course, born addicted to drugs. Anybody who knows, they know that story. I wasn't supposed to live past 21, but of course I'm 45. Right. But I learned, I was when I had kids, my goal was to be a better mother than my mother.
Right.
Because my grandmother raised me to be a lady. Cross your legs. You wear slips. This is the type of undergarments you wear. This is the way that you cook your food. This is, things of that nature. I was doing that since I was 8 years old, and 14, I was doing my sister's hair, making sure she got to school. So I was always a preparer of things, for people as well as myself. So when I had children, for a moment I was like, wait, I don't think I know what I'm doing. I don't think I know what I'm doing. But my goal was to be a better parent than my parents were to me. So I was like, my kids will never have the testimony. My mother wasn't there. My mom had 4 kids, with 3 with my father and 1 who was murdered years ago. But my oldest brother didn't graduate high school. I was the first child to graduate high school, and neither one of my parents were there.
Wow.
And it was heartbreaking. So I had to deal with that. So when I had children, I started seeing a therapist then, because I was like, wait, I don't want to repeat this generational curse.
Right.
But I succeeded not dealing with it because I didn't have kids at an early age. I waited until I was married, so forth and so on. So I was exceeding those goals. But then once I actually became a parent, I'm like, wait, something is missing here. So I lived my life trying to be a better mother than my mother. Then I had to learn how to be affectionate, like TJ said. See, I agree with you, TJ.
She agreed.
I had to learn how to be affectionate.
All right, you get your points back.
Because I wasn't there. My grandmother didn't do that. She didn't commend us when we did good. I didn't do extracurricular activities, only in school at school time, and then it was straight to church. So I was always in the church. So I had to learn a balance. When my kids were like, do we have to go to church again? Do we have to go one more? Then I had to realize, wait a minute, there's life outside church. Let's do something else. Let's develop something else. So I had to learn that. So when they wanted to dance, it was cool. And then I became that dance mom. Like, I'm always there. I'm the chaperone. I've never seen my kids dance. Out of 5 years that they dance, I've only seen them perform twice because I was always behind the stage, making sure that all the kids were straight. So those things my kids love. So when I wasn't a chaperone, I could see them perform. They were still calling me, Mama, come back here. Mama, come back here. So but that's the enjoyment of it. And I loved it. Now it's cheering. So I'm cool with that. But my goal was to be a better parent than my mother. And then when I was having those moments where I felt that I failed when we were homeless, when I felt that I failed, when there were times I was just trying to save money and making sure they ate, and I would go to bed hungry, when we had to sleep in hotels, and the moment when we slept in my car, and those different things like that, I lost it as a parent. I went through that stage like, wait a minute, I'm falling into what I was trying not to be. So now what do I do? But I still dress to get up to go to church. I still led praise and worship. I was still opening the door. Nobody never knew unless I told them, of course. But you never saw my kids look crazy or anything like that. They've always been well-mannered, well-respectful. People love to be around them, especially Kenya. She's a social butterfly. They love that because, again, I try to be that parent that my parents were not to me, but then I felt like I failed. But then when they do little things that I said, and they bring it back to me, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I did do good. I'll tell myself on the back, say, okay, you did good. Every now and again, the Holy Ghost will bring that for them to bring it back to me. Because I have those moments, even in the transition and buying a home. I was like, I can't spend no money. I can't do this. And yet and still, when he provided a way, I mean, it was just God doing everything. And when we came in here, and now I have to yell, come up the stairs. At first we was like, move, get away, slide over. We'll sleep in one bed, slide over. It's two. Now it's, come down here, open this door, and yada yada. Now I'm yelling to the top of my lungs because we got so much space now. So much space.
God said you need more wind for worship, so that's all.
Listen, well,
you're going higher.
Moment, the sanctuary is my dining room, so that's where I'm sitting, in the sanctuary, because we start services the first Sunday in June, right here in the living room.
See.
But I appreciated what you said. It kind of helped me, because even still I have that moment where I'm trying to be better than what they were or what I didn't have. So my kids have always had a birthday party. I never had one. So I overcompensated trying to be a better parent. And then when I can't do it, I feel bad. You know what I mean? I feel bad that I can't. But now I realize, like, wait, you're teaching them another valuable lesson. It's not this, it's about the prayer time, because you'll hear me praying, and they'll stop what they're doing and they'll join into prayer. Or they'll start singing and ask me, Mama, how does song go? And I'll start singing. And I'm like, no, that's you sound flat and so forth and so on. So I will tell them. I can't sugarcoat nothing. I have to tell them the truth. So we get into those moments. So I'm teaching them something more than just the tangible things of parenting. I'm giving them life lessons so they know about life insurance and stuff like that. So now if anything was to happen, my kids know if mama pass on before I get older, this is what she wants. This is who we go to, and this is the person that's going to make sure that we continue in the lifestyle that she's afforded us to have, and not try to just get our money. You know what I mean? So I appreciate you saying that because it made me feel good. Because I had a moment earlier.
So, two things, man. That you said earlier about not being affectionate. There are plenty of people who make up plenty of excuses about why they're not able to give their child attention, and I said the way I grew up is I wasn't affectionate, but I learned. And you said also, and I'm a male, and you said as a female that you grew up in a household similar and you had to learn how to be affectionate. For whoever's watching this, if you're not affectionate and if you're not giving your kids the attention and whatever, you can learn how to do it. Yeah. And another thing is, I believe as a parent, we don't know what to do. We don't know what to do unless the Holy Spirit leads us and guides us. I mean, like the Bible says, the Holy Ghost will lead you and guide you to all truth. Right. We don't know how to raise our kids because unless God says, look, this child is supposed to be this way. This child, so I'm going to download in you on a daily basis now. It ain't a whole month, on a daily basis. I'm going to show you how to tap into the need of your child. I'm going to show you how to direct your child in this order. I'm gonna show you how to talk to your child. I'm gonna tell you what questions to ask your child to be able to tap into that area of their life, or to be able to lead them the way that they're supposed to go. Because we don't know. Like even in prophecy in part. You know what I'm saying? It ain't in whole. You might hear, well, your child will be a prophet. Great. Now, how do I train my child, or what do I do to guide my child other than praying? How do I guide my child to that level of prophetic? You know what I'm saying? So I believe as parents, we're blind unless the Holy Spirit gives us the vision of how to raise our kids. You know what I mean?
That's
So,
good.
because me and Sherry said, me and Sherry literally, we'll come in, like you said, how your children will bring something back before you. Me and Sherry, we have conversations all the time of how we feel like we missed the mark of raising our kids. And then they'll do something or they'll say something. We'll come into the room and like, wow, hey, we're not perfect, but we're doing something right. You know, we made some mistakes, trial and error, X, Y, and Z. Yeah. But we did get that one right. So let's put a check beside that one. Let's stay on that one. And let's try to work on this one down here. So we're constantly doing a check and balance on how and we got 3 of them jokers. So, but we're in that individual. Each one of them are different. So you can't raise the right like you raise a Naya, like you can Taylor. That you got to tap into like each one. But we do constant check and balances on our kids, and you know how we can lead them, teach them, whatever the case is. So yeah, as parents, man, there is no blueprint to how to raise your child. Unless God gives you the blueprint of how to do what needs to be done.
Yeah, Jonathan, how you feel?
The exact same way. I totally agree with everything that's been said. Although I feel like that is God's way of giving us a second chance at childhood by giving us children. And we try to overcorrect those things that might not have been so well with our own childhood. But just like Pastor TJ said, you got to be able to support them the way they need to be supported. Between my 2 oldest sons, there's one of them I got to put fear of God in him because he's that rough exterior. I'm like, I might have to whoop you before you go to school just for waking up. I just got to get you, let you know at the end of the day, you're crazy.
Just waking up. Should have stayed asleep.
Just wake up. Just I know you're going to do something silly. Just something I'm gonna beat you. You're going to volunteer a lie to me today. I just know it.
He said volunteer a lie.
Yeah. Oh, he be unnecessary. I'm just like, what do you talk? You just want to hear yourself talk, don't you? But then I have the son that's right up under him. I can just look at him. And he'll just ball up into this little cringe, no, daddy, please don't. And it's just like it's night and day. You can have kids in the same house and it's like night and day. So I have to give it to them the way that they perceive. Just like love language. You can't love me the way you want to love me. You got to love me the way I perceive love. And so I got to, do the same thing for my kids, give them that root, that discipline, and also give them love and support the way they feel like they need to have it. So I totally agree with what everybody said, because it's very important that you do it child by child basis, because if not, you're gonna be running yourself ragged trying to figure it out. So what we do is we have one-on-ones. So we always do stuff together as a family, but I also find time to personally have one-on-ones. Like, so I'll take all the boys out sometimes, I take all the girls out sometimes, but then we have daddy-daughter date night, me and my oldest, teach her how she needs to be treated, so no knucklehead can ever say, oh, I love you, and they just get whatever they want from her. And she's like, no, my daddy told me he loved me. What else you got? You got some money? What's your credit score look like? So I try to make sure I do that with all of my kids, even down to the youngest baby girl. We'll go to Sheets sometime. We probably gonna do it in a minute because she in there trying to fight to get in this room because she want to be here on this iMac with me. So we're gonna probably go to Sheets and get some ice cream or something and chill after this call is over with. But just try to do it individually, just so I can learn my kids and so I can see what they like, what they in, have a conversation with them that'll help me as a parent figure out which pathway career-wise they need to go. I have a son that's going to be an engineer because he can literally take anything mechanical apart and put it right back together again.
Wow.
Wouldn't have known that had he not been in there playing the remote control and it fell on the floor because he wasn't supposed to be watching TV and it fell on the floor and it fell apart and he put it right back together again in like 10 seconds because he was scared.
Because he was scared. That's right. I knew it.
And that guy,
that was
that guy
force.
put that remote control back together again. And I was just like, that's weird. I said, do that again. So I threw it on the floor. And then he did it again. He put it right back together again. He can literally see something and see how it's positioned, how it's wired, and put it back the way he saw it. So I'm like, you're going to be an engineer. That's just how I know that. So having those conversations in that intimate time lets you know about your kids more than you'll ever know. So
I need him to come to the house. I need him to come to the house and fix our oven.
Look, he probably can do it. That guy
look at the wires. Look at the wires. See how they supposed to be before we call American Home Shield.
Lord Jesus.
Look, that guy can do anything. He be trying stuff. He tried to mount his iPad on the wall the other day with command strips, but whatever.
We are a little bit over our time, which, like I said, good conversations, they tend to run over. Before we go, because y'all have given great advice to other parents, y'all have shared y'all stories, which are amazing stories. So I'm very grateful for that. But I'm gonna just slide this last question in here, and you can only divulge as much as you want to divulge. What?
Oh, divulge.
Divulge.
No,
anyway, you're not gonna do that to me. Anyway, so
divulge.
So with that being said, in this single parenting, whatever. Are we good with where we at, like being a single parent, or are we having hopes and desires and dreams to become that married couple? You know, do we have room in here for the significant others?
Get it. You see that wall? It's
coming up. We working.
Hold on, hurry! Answer that question before the wall come up. Go ahead, answer. It's coming. I see it now. And it ain't
she show her ring. Bam. You know.
Then she got to drink on that one. What's in that bottle?
Lemon water. If I had wine, I'll be asleep by now.
Lord have mercy. But part of parenting is also trying to groom your children for when you decide or make a decision to have a significant other, a partner, a girlfriend, wife, husband, boyfriend, so forth, whatever. Are we ready for that? Are we moving towards that, or that's just something hopes? Or are we just going to enjoy just life right now? Well, Kivette, Jonathan, you got to go because Kivette done showed her ring. So she already answered her. Yeah, she answered. That was her answer.
Okay. Well, I guess I need to show mine too then, huh? No. So no, that's a promise ring. I promise to be good to myself. So that's something I bought for myself. And so I'm working on me. I am dating and just kind of seeing where things go. Don't really have a desire. I was married before, and so I am divorced. That was 2012. I don't know. But so yeah, it's been a long time. But yeah, so I'm just chilling and just trying to, navigate life, make sure I date me first to know what I want so I can give to somebody else. Because I'm gonna tell you, with evaluating myself, I found out a lot about myself. I'm selfish, I'm stubborn, I want my money to be my money, my cars to be my cars.
It's too late for me now,
man.
I'm already married, so
whatever.
I'm finding it out now.
Yeah, oh well, listen.
I'm stuck with
you, it's a journey. It's definitely a journey. So I'm doing that. I don't really have a. I don't know. I'm 35, so I'm really at a place now where I'm really figuring life out, figuring me out.
Yeah.
So it's just like I don't want to put too much on anybody, and it's a lot. And let me tell you now, having these children has brought a lot of attention to me. A lot of attention.
I believe
my inbox stay full because people see it. And they're like, oh,
so they got on clothes.
They like the
idea. They got on clothes.
No
booty
Pastor.
And no boobs.
Pray for it. Pray for it, Pastor. I'm telling you, they send all kinds of stuff. And I'm gonna tell you, and some people have even sent money to like lure me into like them. Yeah, like, oh my God, I want to help you take care of the kids. And people like the idea of being a ready-made family, but they really can't handle it. They really can't handle it.
That part.
There was one particular person who was jealous of the relationship that I had with my kids. I was like, no, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. It was like, why you don't give me no time? Or why you don't
get the money back
or whatever? I'm just like, they can't carry themselves. They are children.
Don't get the money back.
You're a full-grown adult. Can't do it. I can inspire you, but carry you? No, I'm good. So yeah, so me and the kids, we're just gonna rock out right now and just see what life does for us.
I love it.
Yeah, I told Sherry, one day I was just sitting there, man, and I told Sherry, I was like, look, I just went ahead and spilled the beans. I was like, look, this is how I really am. I said, this is what, because I was like, God is, I said, lately I've been seeing a mirror in front of my face. And I said, look, this is how I am. I said, and I don't like it. I'm going to do everything I can do to change it. I'm not telling you it's going to change overnight, but it's time for me to start working on, me. You know what I'm saying? Because we can always, especially as preachers and stuff, we can always point the finger at somebody else and tell them what they need to work on, how they need to be. But we got to start working on ourselves, man. You know what I mean? That's the first. Work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. So, yeah, it's just time for me to get myself together. I'm ready to have my TJ version love story.
Okay,
boy, Rick.
Lord, anyway. Well, we're going to end this up. I just want to thank you, Jonathan.
Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, Bios.
Thank you.
Yvette. Thank y'all so much for tuning in and accepting the invitation and actually sharing.
She's threatening my life. Y'all see that stream, y'all? Social Facebook. She's
right here.
That
it's the top part.
That ring. She's threatening my life.
But I do thank y'all so much, Jonathan. Your story is amazing. I might even bring you back up because I think I want to do a segment on adoption and fostering and so forth. Because I think more people need to know more about it and more information needs to be shared.
That's the month of November. It is adoption awareness.
It is November. Next month. I thought it was I thought it was like one of those March, April months or whatever. But anyway,
y'all know I've been adopted too.
Go ahead, share.
It's too late.
God
it
adopted
is too
me.
late.
I'm adopted into the kingdom.
It's too late. Anyway.
Amen.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Don't amen him, Jonathan.
Thank you.
Don't amen him.
You're not supposed to co-sign. You're not supposed to co-sign like that.
It's past.
It's broke.
It's past.
Thank you. We stick together.
I just want to appreciate y'all telling y'all stories because believe it or not, y'all helped someone on tonight.
Yeah,
y'all did. Y'all helped someone on tonight, and that is our goal here at Thursday Love. Our motto is loving me, loving you, loving us. We first have to learn how to love me. You have to first have to learn how to love you, and then I have to learn how to love this one, and then we have to learn how to love us.
You don't understand. It's a blessing to love me.
Anyway.
I'm special. I told you I was adopted. I'm special. I'm a blessing to love.
So it's all about
privilege to love me.
Anyway, it's all about relationships and how to better them. And tonight, y'all help someone who is a single parent and how to better their relationship with themselves as well as their children.
Y'all help people who are married with children, not just a single parent.
But yeah, so thank you guys. I appreciate it. Thank you guys. And for all those that tuned in and commented, Deidre, you hung in there with us. We appreciate y'all. We'll be back next week. Next week, we'll be talking about breast cancer. We'll have a guest panelist who will tell her story about breast cancer. And we'll have a guest panelist who will tell her story about domestic violence, because everybody know October is Domestic Violence and Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Also, it's the month to bring awareness to miscarriages and stillbirths. I didn't kind of go with it this year, but maybe next year. But we'll talk about that one time at one moment. But yeah, y'all have a blessed night. Y'all have a blessed week. Y'all be safe out there. We love you guys. Y'all take care.